Welcome to the news slot on the AM show, and let's start with some SONA-related news. President Akufo-Addo is optimistic Ghana's economy will rebound from the COVID-19 pandemic even as government rolls out a vaccination program to ensure citizens are protected from the virus. Addressing Parliament in his first State of the Nation address for his second term, the president announced the 100 billion Ghana cedi Ghana Cares Obatampa program will transform, revitalize and modernize the economy and return it to high and sustained growth for the next 3 years.
Developed and is currently implementing the 100 billion cedi Ghana Cares Obatampa program to transform, revitalize and modernize our economy and return it to high and sustained growth for the next 3 years. The key projects under the CARES program include A. Supporting commercial farming and attracting educated youth into commercial farming. B. Building the country's light manufacturing sector. C. Developing engineering, machine tools, and ICT digital economic industries. D. Fast-tracking digitalization. E. Developing Ghana's housing and construction industry. F. Establishing Ghana as a regional hub. G. Reviewing and optimizing the implementation of government flagships and key programs. And H. Creating jobs for young people and expanding opportunities for the vulnerable in society, including persons with disabilities. The establishment of the National Development Bank under the Ghana Cares program is expected to provide financial support to businesses in Ghana. Government expects economic activity, which has already picked up, to do so even further following the ongoing vaccination exercise and the easing of restrictions put in place to curb the effects of the disease.
The president also reiterated his earlier call for a national dialogue on illegal mining, which he says will be led by the new Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. He mentioned that the Ejapa mineral royalties deal will be returned to Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, when I appeared before this House on 4th January 2021 to deliver the last message on the State of the Nation at the dissolution of Parliament, I called for a national discourse on the long-standing issue of illegal small-scale mining in our country. Yes, in the last 4 years, so much has been achieved in cleaning up this industry, training miners in the best methods of mining, introducing community mining, enacting additional regulatory legislation. But the reality is that illegal small-scale mining remains a major problem. I am confident that the new energetic Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and a Member of Parliament for Damango constituency, the Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, will rapidly facilitate the holding of this national dialogue and will work to build on the progress of his predecessors by enhancing regulation of this sector, which should be anchored on the protection of the environment and on community mining. Mr. Speaker, let me at this point assure the House that in the course of this session of Parliament, government will come back to engage the House on the steps it intends to take on the future of the Ejapa transaction.
Meanwhile, residents of Esreso Aputugwa on the Lake Road in Kumasi say their State of the Nation can only be better with the resumption of work on the main road there. They say they were expecting the president to mention when the stalled Lake Road would be completed to reduce the dust pollution there. Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko gauged the mood there while the president delivered the State of the Nation address on Tuesday.
1B1F companies, whilst 112, including 5 medium.
This afternoon, as he starts his address, we have decided to use the Espresso Aputoja Lake Road stretch, drive along it, monitor the conversation and what is going on concerning the State of the Nation address and how people are reacting towards it.
Na yakasi wakale na mpesa mitie de mpesa oso tie makuma edama kuma so se ese lati edum no ekwan yinye enfutro ese that to divine yenguso yenwo chente pancha wo mo yes akwan so e ma na nya ye pa awe de kuma so ye bra kwan so
me hu de wa ye we se o kan that State of Nation address because we kwan a ye ti hu sisi e aluminium for ye adwuma ye fe but you see an wo hwe profile ya hu nyina say a ekwan nti wo mo ya meguso ekwan so mo twetwe mo kokroma the State of the Nation address now. Oh yes, see any day. Me make sense, mama.
Yes, no. Yeah, person wa ye kwan maye. Won ye kwan maye na ye wu. Ye wu pa ya betna ye hu nyina de fin. Enfuturo dole ye. Enti ye beka ache president ye se no aban. Won mo ye kwan na ye ho nto ye.
We realize that not many people are paying attention to the State of the Nation address. Some do not even care about the State of the Nation address. There are others who are going about their normal duties and are not really listening or monitoring what the president is saying. Are you listening to the State of the Nation address today?
No, please. I'm expecting the government to say something about the road. For example, Kofi Job. We know that Kofi Job is a contractor who is constructing this road. But the way he's doing the road, the way he's constructing, is not nice.
And yes, answer bit me, I be a walk on a sweating. I mean, I send a bay, you bit me, and then I tell what Congress will be a man.
I want to find out from this gentleman why he's not listening at the moment. But Unimsa President deliver State of the Nation address.
Unimsa President deliver State address no namum. Nifi. A quina saman and Kameka chance on Fankan. No be mine na. Big fiti no betwa sword no so no a yenyina hu se kiri edu fa bi se can't mean cost director bridge bi ebu okwan so can't mean ko.
In this part of Kumasi, the Lake Bosomche Road to be precise, is business as usual. Not many people are monitoring the State of the Nation address by the president. They tell me their preoccupation at the moment is to hear the president talk about how this road is going to be fixed and when, to alleviate their plight concerning the extreme dust pollution on this stretch. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asari Donko, Kumasi.
From that front, let's go to the educational sector. And the sector minister, Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum, has been sharing his vision of infrastructural expansion to his new team. He says his agenda is to aggressively pursue educational infrastructure expansion and improve the quality of education. As he started work officially on Tuesday, Dr. Duchum explained how to achieve it to his new team, urging them to let go of pettiness and focus on the bigger national goal.
And you are here because I believe in every one of you. You are my closest circle of individuals that I believe I can get a lot of support from. And all that I want to tell you is that I'm here to lead the dreams of this nation, the dreams of Ghanaians. Ghanaians want something different. The president has responded to them. He has given me the opportunity to lead the education ministry. I don't take it for granted. Together with your support and prayers, we are going to embark on the transformation agenda of the president. Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo talks about Ghana beyond aid. That is a Ghana where there's prosperity. And that is what we want to do. My goal is to make sure that the president will leave a legacy that will be unchallenged when it comes to education and transformation. So you are going to see me talking to corporate leaders because I want them to understand that they need to tell us the kind of graduates they want. And we'll produce those graduates for them. So if you talk about the quality of our education system, you don't just look at the basic schools and the senior high school, you have to look at the tertiary. We do that so that we can create a power. I'm so excited about the new schools that we are going to open next year. Schools that will really put Ghana on the map in terms of at the same scale as the schools of the future in Singapore. Our 21st century schools are going to be different. It's going to be exciting in Ghana, but I know we need the guidance of God and His protection, and we need support of people like yourselves, and together we will do something that most people have never thought about. Yeah, we are human beings. There will be pettiness, and even among you, somebody will say something. By the end of the day, what you should understand is that the vision is bigger and greater than anybody. Eschew the pettiness. If you have to talk to somebody, resolve it, move forward, understand them. That the great days of this nation is ahead of us and not behind us. I know when you go downstairs, you're going to see the pictures of the past ministers for education. It will bring back memories, so many of them. They did their bit. They came, they confronted challenges, they did wherever they could.
Well, the Upper West Regional Director of the National Commission on Civic Education, Patience Salikumnas, is urging market women in the Wa municipality to take the COVID-19 disease vaccine when the program is rolled out in the region. Speaking at the International Women's Day celebration in Wa, she said the vaccine was like any other vaccine that had been used in the past and was efficient. Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
As part of the celebration of the International Women's Day in the Upper West region, the Upper West Department of Gender, Children and the National Commission on Civic Education, with support from Ponet North, Action Aid and Water Aid, distributed nose masks and hand sanitizers to women plying their trade at the Wa market. Upper West Regional Director of the Department of Gender, Charity Boture, noted that the donation is aimed at protecting the women against the coronavirus and also keeping them in business.
And looking at the theme for this year, the global theme, which says that women in leadership achieving an equal future in the COVID-19 world. We are looking at how we can support these market women to stay in business and still be safe as we are gearing towards having a COVID-free nation. These are some of the ways we can assist our women to keep safe, and even the people that come to patronize them in the market will also be safe. So today's event is actually to mark the International Women's Day, to encourage our women, to appreciate them and recognize the effort they are putting in celebrating the day. Giving them the nose mask will go a long way to help us reduce the spread of the COVID-19 in our region. That is why we are here to give this assistance to our market women. That's the only way we can also reach out to them, let them know that what they are doing, we see, we appreciate, and we acknowledge the achievements. We know, but for their efforts, maybe we wouldn't have had breakfast or even think about lunch and dinner. But because they risk their lives on the market to go to the villages and bring commodities for us to buy, we get foodstuffs to buy for our homes.
Upper West Regional Director of the National Commission for Civic Education, Madam Patience Salikumnas, revealed that apart from the donation of the nose masks and the hand sanitizers, they also use the opportunity to sensitize the people against the deadly virus. Madam Patience also allays the fears of the market women on some misconception that is being peddled against the vaccine.
Anything. It won't kill anybody. It won't cause any problem. The only thing is, even if you go to hospital and they inject you, you have some little pain. It is just normal pain. That is what you experience. It could be a headache. It could be swelling, little swelling. It could be any small feeling of fever or whatever. But it will not last beyond 2 days. So there is nothing to be afraid of. Some are also saying in the vaccine they have put some chips that they'll be tracking you. No, there is nothing like that. The vaccine is just like any other vaccine that we have used in the past. Me standing here, very soon I'll be 60 years. But I have started taking vaccine, or they have vaccinated me from age 9 in schools. But I'm still here, so it will not kill anybody. It won't cause any adverse effect in anybody. So we are just encouraging you that when it comes, we will come back again. But when it comes, you should avail yourself. You should be ready to take it. It will help you.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Draft or checkers played on a standard chessboard of 64 checkered squares will soon become a feature of national competition. Though a long-standing pastime for many, the game of dummy, as it is popularly known, was recently admitted as a sport by the National Sports Authority. In our Ghana Month series, Kelvin Owusu-Ansah gets closer to appreciate the passion of the game.
Play, I'll give you all 5 today. A dominant source of entertainment for all ages, but predominantly middle-aged men in most areas of Kumasi. But the game of drought has been formalized by a few, including Amekom, Asafo, Mensia, Atonsu, Ebuakwa, Kwadaso, Didiako, and Swami. One of the major hubs of drought is Amekom, where the regional headquarters of the Drought Association is situated. Despite being rendered a mixed sport, many from all walks of life make time to play drought. They have different reasons for their preference for the game.
It's one game that to me helps with brain development, because everything that we do here is about using the brains. And to be frank with you, it's if you are not good in maths, for instance, it will be difficult for you to play draft.
People are having that notion that it involves a lot of laziness. That is not true. It's palpable force.
Because of draft, I'm traveling to Ethiopia. That was the first time I visited there. But I won the medal. There is a lot of champions there, but I am the 3rd position in that competition. So draft is a game. It's help people to reduce tension and everything.
The Ghana Drought Association is one of the silent unions in the country, but believes the game of drought holds notable prospects for players. Edmond Owusu is regional secretary.
Since 2018, Ghana Drought Association has now been recognized among the disciplines in sports in Ghana. In fact, it is not only the Ghana Draft Association alone that we have achieved, but we are able to move the draft outside the country. 2008, we took some of our players, good players, to Malawi to play international game. And 2019, we were having an opportunity to go to America or US, California precise, to play a draft game. But it's unfortunate because of the COVID, we had a lockdown. That is why we are not able to achieve that purpose.
Aside entertainment, the game enhances the thinking capacity of players in quick decision making. The game that comes with less playfully cast on opponents has seen little recognition both locally and internationally. Chairman of the Ashanti Region Drought Association, Emmanuel Osei-Boateng, calls for conscious effort from all stakeholders to help push the sport to the next level.
We play to the media as well as the other people, entities who are willing to support. Like as my other executives may pronounce, we have dignities that they're in love with the game. They do play in their normal homes and other stuff, but just that they don't come to where the playing grounds is. But for this time, advocacy, we are reaching them through this media that they should come in our aid to support us.
It is a logical game that is easy to teach, though it involves strategic reasoning. Encouraging more people to play the sport can help develop life skills and, more importantly, offers another opportunity to win a medal at the Olympics.
And that is the playful and very Ghanaian note on which we wrap up the AM News for another morning. Do stay with us. We bring you the news review up next.
Hi there. Good morning to you. Well, thanks for still staying with us. But if you just join us, we welcome you to the AM show.
Akwaba, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're coming to do the newspapers. It's a Wednesday, and yesterday was the State of the Nation address. If you listen to the president, what do you make of the address? I have some disappointment that I'll be sharing. Not necessarily with the address itself, but just the behavior of some of the members of parliament. Very disappointing. But before the disappointment, I've got a special birthday dedication, Ben, that I want to make.
Okay.
So, Chloe Emefa Kumo, it's your birthday today. Your dad, the Municipal Chief Executive for Weja Bawe, Patrick KB Kumo, is wishing you a happy birthday. And I also want to wish you a happy birthday today. Chloe Emefa Kumo, happy birthday to you. It's from your parents. And it's from me, your auntie, as well. Enjoy your birthday today. All right. Okay, Ben, did you listen to the State of the Nation?
Yes, I did. And as I listened to it, I was thinking about the Sompa. You know what the Sompa is? State of my pocket address.
Okay. I wouldn't have said it exactly like that. State of your pocket address. That's
State of my pocket address. And, I was just trying to put side by side what Mr. President is saying that supposedly is our reality and what I am seeing as my lived reality, and disparities here and there. But I guess, one thing you can expect, whether it's the State of the Nation address in Ghana, in the United States, in India, all these countries delivering some form of the State of the Nation address, you would find those in power creating a certain picture of wellness, of stability, which in itself is not bad, because as a leader, you need to create a certain mindset among your people that all is well. If people, when people get to the point where they think all is not well, so many bad things can happen. But I think in painting the picture that all is well, you also ought to be realistic about it. And some of what was said, I don't know how real it was, how real to life it was. But plans and more plans. One thing I see definitely is the fact that there are more plans to continue some of the things we've started and to make inroads into other sectors in there. The practicality, though, is another thing altogether. When you talk about our national card system, for example, and how we're going to harness all of that, the millions and millions of people and the sums of money involved. I mean, we've not been told how much exactly is involved, but then you begin to ask questions. How much are we going to get from this? How much more are we going to sink into such projects? What will be the ultimate benefit to the ordinary Ghanaian? So, touting a lot of matters, but it remains to be seen practically on the ground.
Yeah.
Where we've really, how far we've really come.
That's always the challenge, isn't it? Is how much of what is said on the macro level is felt in your personal life. When Mr. President talked about we had enough food, I shouted and said, oh yes, but it was expensive, or it is still expensive. So I get it.
Well, they'll tell you it's on the back of COVID.
Well, I mean, COVID, and we also have to be fair. Nobody saw COVID coming. COVID has been very expensive to deal with. I mean, now we're talking about vaccines as well. Everything that has happened from, I guess, for us, March last year till now, nobody expected it. Right. And we've had to spend quite a lot into it. But you see, that inconvenience at that big level is also felt, and even you would feel it a lot more, because if you've lost your job, and things have happened with the banking sector cleanup, and then COVID coming and other people losing their jobs, businesses not going so well, children staying home for so long, and then they have to go back to school, and you have to pay fees and buy all the things that you used to buy. So for the individual, your State of the Nation will certainly be different from that big picture that Mr. President, painted yesterday. So we're digesting what happened yesterday. Let's do a lot more in the newspapers. If you look at the Ghanaian Times newspaper on the front page, it says, at the State of the Nation address, Ghana card to be linked to tin, SIM, passport, others. That was a big revelation yesterday. But, we've spent a lot of time and money doing other things. Now we're going to be linking the Ghana card number to all these. So why didn't we just do it in the first place?
You remember when this entire enterprise of a Ghana card started, we were told about, the chip and how much data it can take and all of that, and it's going to be a sort of e-passport and all of that. So when you look at it, you wonder really what else is going to be added, how the synchronization is going to be done. Because honestly, we have too many cards. You carry too many cards around. And look, some of the cards are not even serving certain purposes. In some banks and the rest, they're still accepting the old voters card, which they have in their systems, but not the new one.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Some banks, I hear,
I know
you would
the
go
Ghana
to.
card that most of them are not, maybe all of them are not even taking it because they don't have the data.
A lot of people tell me they go with the Ghana, and I've had personal experiences. You go with the Ghana card and they tell you this, they tell you that. Or you go with a voter's ID and they tell you, no, this one is not yet. It's a complicated mess. And if our cards aren't usable in such ways, there are people who have told me in the past that I went and registered for the voter's ID because I didn't want to be left out, and also because I wanted to be able to use it for my transactions, not necessarily because I wanted to vote. I didn't feel that was patriotic, but that was their reasoning, and you couldn't fault them for that. So if they can't even do those things with them, then what is the use of these plentiful cards we have?
If you do the center spread of the Ghanaian Times, my disappointment is right there in the center spread. Cheers, jeers, heckling characterized president's maiden second term of the State of the Nation address. And I thought many of what we heard was unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. I don't know what other people make of it. And I felt it was disappointing, but I was also shy, not me fairy. Do you understand what I mean? Like I was cringing at some point.
It was embarrassing for you?
Thank you. Thank you for the word. It was embarrassing as a Ghanaian listening, because I think that some of the things just below the belt, you don't do that. And we know that, listen, the minority, they don't have to paint any kind of picture to us, those who are watching, because we know that they've got great relationships in Parliament, to the extent that when Mr. President gave his list out there, and we saw them at the vetting. Some people were citing
the person is from my part of the country. This person, I am in very good, I have very good relations with this person, or this person is my.
We saw
amazing, isn't it?
We saw them actually endorse all of them. I mean, all of them are now substantial ministers appointed by the president. I mean, so you don't have to, give the impression that you are not friends with them or you dislike them. And you dislike everything about them, because we know that it is not true.
It's a thing about impressions that they must create on the floor of Parliament in these instances. I think it's something they've come to do want to do.
I think we must rise above it, because if you're a Ghanaian, imagine me, I was even in Ghana, I was feeling this way. Imagine that you were outside the country. You're probably watching with friends, or maybe you were alone. I guess it's just the spirit of being Ghanaian. When something is embarrassing, you feel it.
Well,
and I wasn't even watching because I was driving. I was listening to it.
You ought to.
Imagine if I was watching.
Actually.
I really don't think that this is good. And I hope that the Speaker, because this was Parliament, I hope that the Speaker will raise this when we are all not watching and talk to the members. It was not cool. It wasn't cool.
In a way, I think our Parliament, while it is split right down the middle, and it would serve a certain great purpose, or could serve a certain great purpose in terms of the dynamics of Parliament and lawmaking and all of that. You look at what happened prior to the swearing in of Mr. President, and you look at some other things that have followed since then, and you begin to wonder whether the 8th Parliament is actually going to maybe live up to not past expectations or what the 7th Parliament did and surpass that, but the expectations of ordinary Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And when we see them in this light, it creates a certain very negative picture.
Yeah, and they're there to make laws. Let us see your work. Let us see it. Let us feel it. The jeers, the heckling, it doesn't translate into legislation. We will appreciate your work if you diligently do it, what you're there to do. As for the other side stuff, dear Charlie, I think they should go above that. We, and a lot of people learning. It was like some secondary school extension B. I mean, that's how bad it came across to me. And it wasn't good.
Watch it now.
Yes, sir. So I'm just going to do page 3. Some updates on some crime stories, and I will end it there. So 2 women before court over death threats. They met another woman at a funeral and issued some death threats, but that wasn't the first time. They had issued some death threats sometime last year, and the case had been reported to the Accra Regional Police. They were cautioned. But this time they did it again. 2 of them, 2 friends. I'm sure there's some history somewhere. Story didn't talk about that history. But they were arrested and charged, and they're being prosecuted now. Also man in court over alleged murder of wife. And I'm sure that we know this from the news. So this is a business executive, we're told, who assaulted because he... According to the court narration, he actually disclosed to the court that, yes, indeed, he assaulted his wife, actually beat her with some slippers. She went to the hospital, returned, but she never got better. This happened on the 1st of March. On Saturday or so, she just fell into coma, and that was how she died. Her father reported the incident to the Medina police, and it was based upon that complaint that the man was arrested, and yesterday he was taken to court and he's been remanded. We will keep you updated on this matter. And then remember
you look at that man, you look at him, the man himself, and this is no mean man. You look at his structure and all of that. And sometimes you ask yourself, why some people would even do this? I mean, why would you even raise your hand? Not on just a woman, on anybody else. Yes, things happen, but when you hear of some of these incidents, and it's not the first time, it isn't some slip up or something. It's something that apparently happens all the time. Heartbreaking, really.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
So now he's been charged with murder. Okay. And then remember the headless man that was found. The police is still looking for, they can't still identify who he is. And this is the Tesano police. So they're asking for information. They've got the body, but they cannot identify because the head was not there when they found him. And so they're asking. I
thought eventually they had discovered the decapitated part.
No.
They still hadn't.
No. That's the
well, this is where if we had the right structures in our country, in other jurisdictions, your teeth, your dental structure, your other body parts, your nails and a few things can sometimes be used because they have a database. Here, well, we're yet to get to that level.
It is in the pipeline.
So, I mean, your hair and all of that.
Ben, it is in the pipeline. Well,
that's a very long pipeline. I mean, let's be realistic here. The state of the nation in that respect is, we are light years behind, let's just say that.
So the police commander, the Tesano police commander is appealing to all of us. If you live in the community, if there's a person that you think is missing, and I think for the earlier reports suggested that he probably was a shoemaker or a person of a sort, and he's in his 40s, they figure. So if somebody's gone missing, please alert the police so we can identify this man, and we pray and hope that they can also find the bad people who did that to him. Ben, I think enough of the Ghanaian Times.
Well, the Daily Graphic this morning catching bits and snippets of yesterday's SONA. It has economy and good health, President Akufo-Addo saying so, and he is actually talking about the fact that despite COVID and the sort of havoc it has wreaked on our economy, there still are some good things to talk about. Then there's minority disappointed with address. That's on page 16. Mr. Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader, pictured there. Then we're saddened by our children's demise. That's according to the families of those who actually lost their children in Apam, the sad drowning of 12 children.
I listened to one of the survivors there. He said there were about 25.
There were 3 of them?
25.
3 of them that were rescued.
There was one person that spoke to Adum, our sister station, yesterday, and I was listening to him. He was giving the narration. So his batch, he went with about 5 people, and he was the only person that survived. The description he gave was as if the waves, it picked like half of them, and then it came back to take the rest of the half. And it sounded like it would carry you to a certain destination, and it's difficult for you to swim back. But he also confessed that they may have gone further. You know, they were swimming and enjoying
much farther
themselves.
than maybe they should have.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, with the sea, you don't want to joke with the forces of nature. That's one thing. So, per the story, the news of their passing came to them as a surprise, especially because they could not fathom how the children managed to gather at the beach to engage in different forms of activities, including swimming, which resulted in the death. So some things, when you're told, don't go there, don't do this. Because, you know, like we were mentioning yesterday, they actually went behind the fisher folk. So the fisher folk didn't even see them, else they would have stopped them.
So apparently, and there are other things I'm hearing, that they had a WhatsApp group. So this was like a group of friends who would go and chill.
Meet up.
So this was one of those normal things that they would do. And then, yeah.
Anyway, so moving on from there, ruling party wins majority in Côte d'Ivoire's polls, or the Ivory Coast, and still a lot of turmoil in that country with regard to some of these developments. We're taking race issues seriously. Guess where that is being said? Yeah, your favorite, Buckingham Palace. And let me just get into
the Queen's statement.
Yes.
It was quite brief, very short.
Barely.
But yeah.
Yeah. And the race issues raised by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are concerning, quote, and will be addressed by the family privately, Buckingham Palace has said. In a statement, the palace said recollections may vary, but the claims made in the interview with Oprah Winfrey were, quote, taken very seriously, unquote. How seriously? We'll find out maybe in coming days, weeks, months, years, decades.
So the analysis on this, I listened to a reporter describe it as a conciliatory tone with a gentle challenge.
Yes.
With a gentle challenge. Yes. And it's sought to say this is a family matter, and kind of like acknowledged what Harry and Meghan had to say. And they said, you know, it was a matter of would they respond or not. A lot of people were waiting for them to respond, but depending on how the statement was written, it could have added to the royal crisis. I guess this was...
I think this was a very, like you said, conciliatory tone, and I feel it was the right thing to do. Whoever urged them to go this way, because if you listen to the sort of tone that had been adopted by the royal house after it had come into the public domain that Harry and Meghan were going to do something like this, or they had done it and it was going to be aired, it was very different from what we are seeing now.
Yeah.
And I think the tone is way better now because it makes it appear, oh, we know there is some sort of problem and it's systemic. We're going to try to, you know,
did you see Piers Morgan walking out on his morning show?
Piers Morgan, dramatic, dramatic Piers. Anyway, so all of that happening, but the reality is some of these things have happened over time. We're just seeing them now, and thankfully Buckingham Palace is willing to address them. Page 16.
Whether or not they will indeed address is another matter.
You know, there's that thing about, in the Bible, there's a story of the two brothers. One was told by the father, go and do this for me. And he said, oh, yes, I'm going to do it. But he never did. The other one came, and when his father called him and said, do this for me, he grumbled and said he wouldn't do it, but he ended up doing it. So which of them they are going to be, only time will tell.
Yeah.
Minority disappointed with address, that's on page 16. And what have they been talking about from yesterday? Maybe that explains their aggressiveness. And so there's a talk here about my first major disappointment is the president's silence on our national debt. We have a national debt of about 287 billion Ghana cedis, meaning about 78% of gross domestic product, which is worrying, the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, stated. You know, we've gone back and forth on this matter, previous regimes to this one. So they want a spelling out of our true debt situation. That is one of the things they are talking about. And the minority leader also said that Ghanaians needed to know the extent to which the COVID-19 pandemic had contributed to unemployment in the country. He goes on to talk about some questionable campaign promises. Well, I guess they make them anyway, and then spelling out that the minority is still against the Ejapa deal. And he also brought up the Domelevo question, which a lot of us have been concerned about. So that, in summary, is what the minority has been putting out there. In the middle spread of the paper, identify best practices to tackle climate change. That's according to the president. And I feel it's one aspect of our national life that we are maybe not taken very seriously. On the back page, President receives triumphant satellites. And yesterday, after, discharging his duties, he also met with the satellites who made us very proud.
My Black Stars.
Your Black Stars.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But they are satellites.
I know.
They've not graduated yet.
I know.
Our hope is that when they
we don't want to rush them into the Black Stars.
No, when they get to that point, or at least there'll be that rollover.
Mm-hmm.
It's something we for a long time we've not been able to do properly.
Yeah.
Rollover, carry on from, so you move from this step to the next step, and then you graduate to the national team. That's what the other teams in Europe and the rest have over us. They have that rollover effect.
I think it was a Riku, the day after the win, he engaged a Ghanaian coach who's based somewhere else, but he's a transition coach. So I was asking a lot more questions about what the work of a transition coach, truly is. And I was thinking, Ghana, do we have a transition coach?
We have
Would we even appreciate a person like that, or...
We have a general captain.
That kind of strategy.
We have a general captain.
Your Wes.
When I heard that thing the first time, don't worry, we'll be out in India, right? Transitional coach elsewhere, general captain here. It's okay. We do our thing.
Can I do the daily dispatch?
Yes, please.
All right, front page. So how 20 teenagers drowned at a palm. We know 12 of them are dead now. 3 of them survived. They're in the hospital. There was one of them who's also going through the psychological
it's traumatic
stuff, saying that, so he actually has been seeing the people, the friends that he was with, and they're calling him, kind of like asking him to come with them.
Yeah. He's sort of...
We pray for them, really. And then Ajinasari on men of God and integrity. I think this has been reported, but Kweku Bako lost his 87-year-old mom on Independence Day, the morning of 6th of March.
Our condolences to him.
Absolutely. Okay.
Well, let's take a quick look at the final newspaper. IEA urges government to pass dormant tax exemptions bill. Government targets 40% increase in enrollment in tertiary education by 2030. Ambitious. Let's get it done then. 1.9 billion Ghana cedis lost to petroleum tax evasion in 2019. That's according to a CBOD report. 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. Strong economic rebound plan unveiled to reverse ravaging effects of COVID-19. And the projections for the year, 5%, as far as our GDP is concerned. Government begins processes to raise 5 billion on international capital market. Then, when you turn to page 5, construction of 90 courts across the country underway, something else that has been mentioned. In the middle spread, NDC urges women to avail themselves for leadership roles. And Dr. Feni, women's empowerment is not about equality. In fact, I just want to take a bit of this. She's a senior research fellow at the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana. Statistical. You want me to say it again?
No, sir.
Statistical? You heard something else there. You should have heard what Mama View was saying. Speaking at an event organized by the Achedifie to mark the 2021 International Women's Day on the theme Choose to Challenge, she said the purpose of women's equality was about using their given talents to change the world and to complement men. You can read further, but I know some people will also disagree with how she puts it, but this is her thinking. Dr. Feni sharing her thoughts. Do you agree, disagree with that? She quotes the Bible, Genesis, a number of things to say that yes, equality in certain ways, but you also have your place. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with her. It's not a challenge as in, I'm not competing with you, Ben. I accept that there are some things that you can do better than I can.
And some things, obviously, you can do better than
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. So, if we see it that way, we'll make a lot more progress.
You've put it so aptly, because I think that's the entire fulcrum of the problem.
That's it.
So it's like having this talent and not realizing it and wanting to do something else that you're not talented.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we would use the rest of the time to do myJoyline.com. But Ben, you would know, maybe some also know Yao Tong. Is he a Co-American? Is he part of the group?
Yes, he is. Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool.
Okay, so his new track that he dropped just, I think, first week in March is making waves.
Is that not what we played recently?
Yeah, sorry. 1 million views. A lot of people talking about him on Twitter. I pulled this from the News One Entertainment center spread of the Daily Guide newspaper. Yao Talk.
I'm wondering how long it took him, because Kwesi Arthur also has a new banger. It's been about a month. He also hit 1 million recently. I'm wondering how long it took Yao Talk to get there.
This was out.
Does it state it? It
March
probably
4.
doesn't.
March 4, right?
March 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's now hit
March
4. And it's over 1 million. Oh, it's not like 1 million. It's March 4th. And today is what?
So
March
it's just
10th.
about a week.
Yeah. This is the Soriako Pesika. Oh, where's the line? Where's the line? I think it's not coming.
I think Derek will give us some of that.
Let's quickly do myJoyline.com. We'll run you through the headlines on our page. There you have it. The state of the nation. Government will engage Parliament about the Japa deal. The Japa is coming back.
Well, the minority says we're not for it.
I thought the Japa, okay. Well, and then you can get a playback of the assessment of the state of the nation on PM Express. This businessman in police grips for allegedly killing his wife. We updated you on the story. Many students have recovered after testing positive for COVID-19. Thank God, according to the Ghana Health Service Director General. Police give accounts of how at least 12 teenagers drowned at Apam. That story, we've also been giving you update on that. All right, so that's it for the review. We will bring you sports up next. And then, of course, today is a Wednesday. So we have our Wednesday package, the business package, courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, coming your way as well. It's all about the State of the Nation address. But I want to say a happy birthday again to Chloe Emefa Kumo is from your dad, Mr. Patrick Kumo, the MC for Wage Agbawe. To you, Chloe. Enjoy your birthday. It's also your birthday today. Comfort Ayi Aso Atiamo of Presbyterian Church Resurrection Congregation across Central. The messages: we appreciate and love you very much for the sacrifices you make for us and always there for us, is from your children and the entire family. And to Comfort, happy birthday to you.
But before we go, Echo, please do us the honors. Let us see the name again.
I massacred it. Okay, Echo, bring it down. Bring it down.
Echo, please let us see the name again.
Bring it down.
Mr. Producer.
Bring it down. What should I have said?
Comfort, waiting.
What's the right?
No. I'm just.
What did I say? Aye. I think I said aye or aye.
Okay, so I'm saying
aye.
Comfort. Aye, aso, atiemo. Actually, the way you said it in the rough.
Charlie. Hey. I apologize, Santa Comfort. I just wanted to say happy birthday. I love you. Enjoy your birthday today. Stay with us. We've got sports coming up.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM Sports with me, Rico Wampofo. Well, it's been a big day, especially for the Black Satellites and their team members. And that's because the government has promised the whole team $10,000 each after they emerged champions of the just ended Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Mauritania. The Satellites, who returned home to a hero's welcome on Sunday, presented the trophy to President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House on Tuesday, and then the president was grateful to the team for making Ghana proud.
I know the place you went to, Nouakchott. It's not a very friendly place. And that you've gone there and come back with the victory tells a lot about you. And the country is very, very, very proud. The country is very proud of your achievement. We have a package for you, which I'm sure the minister and the GFA president and your team leader has talked to you about, which will enable you to at least receive the gratitude of the nation. It's a token, but it's something to tell you how very happy Ghanaians are with what you have done. Each one of the team is receiving $10,000 from the government.
Well, of course, the $10,000 that the players and members of the team would be receiving is not straight up cash. It's just $5,000 upright cash, and then there will be a $5,000 also invested for the members of the team, with a 10-year investment, so they would be able to withdraw it or get access to it after 10 years also. But let's do some more stories where the multimedia group has secured exclusive free-to-air rights for television and radio to the UEFA Euro 2021 tournament for territory of Ghana. It will be recalled that the tournament, originally scheduled for 2020, had to be rescheduled to 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As such, the tournament, now scheduled for June 11 to July 11, 2021, would be played across various cities, notably Paris, Dublin, Munich, and London. Here's Abdullahi Awudu, who's the general manager of Adom Brands at the Multimedia Group.
Multimedia Group just secured the rights to Euro 2021. I mean, we secured it in 2020, but because of COVID, it was pushed to 2021. So we've been working in the background for quite some time. And for us, it's just a testament of what we do for our audience. We know that our audience are looking for top quality, top draw programs in all genres. And we believe that in 2021, this is one of the biggest sports products that can come onto the market. So, and we secured the rights for both English and Akan, and on TV and radio. It means that exciting moments for our audience. Apart from the live matches, our teams have prepared great products for radio and TV, digital media, to showcase the tournament and even content before the tournament. When multimedia covers a program, or when we are doing a tournament, or when we are covering even an event, and this cuts across all genres, be it politics, be it election coverage, be it sports, we bring a certain dynamism to it. We just don't cover, we just don't pipe the tournament for you, or we just don't show you what we are showing you. We give you context, we give you a 360 view of the product. We give you the history, we let you get involved in it, and we present it in the most unique way that you can ever get in Ghana. So for me, it is not just a football festival, but it is something that will really touch all your senses when you follow us for the tournament.
Club Licensing Board, acting in its capacity in the instant body of the club licensing process, has revoked the licenses of Brecum Chelsea and Elmina Sharks FC to use the Golden City Park and Indum Sports Stadium respectively. As part of the mid-season spot check inspection and the review, the club licensing department continued its spot check inspection on match day 17 of the Ghana Premier League and presented an updated report on the 5 match venues to the board. Julius Emuna, who is the manager of the GFA Club Licensing Department, led the inspections.
Major objective of the club licensing process or regime is to safeguard and protect the professionalism of football. And that is our core business as both the regulator and of course the members here in the clubs, is to ensure that whatever we are doing regarding this business of football is at its professional best. So it is not to punish clubs, not at all. Far from that. Now, one of the most important criteria for the club licensing process is the infrastructure criteria. And for Premier League for this season, since 2012, directives upon directives, have been directed to clubs. We've come a long way as a club licensing process for the Premier League. I can confidently say that we are moved from, the awareness stage for club licensing requirement regarding infrastructure for Premier League. We are in a Premier League where almost every Premier League venue in this season's Ghana Premier League have an external wall. Every Premier League venue have a befitting dressing room. Every Premier League venue have an inner perimeter or a structure to serve as an inner perimeter. Every Premier League venue has a tunnel. Every Premier League venue, has a standard VIP. Every Premier League venue has a standard safe zone. So we've actually gone far, in terms of trying to implement the standard that has been set. There are other standards that we are hoping to achieve going forward. For instance, the standard of having stands at our venues, at least minimum of 1,000 stands at each match venue of the Ghana Premier League is achievable, and so forth. So
We'll keep you up to date in terms of what happens with the club licensing board and the clubs in the Ghana Premier League. Well, that's what the Champions League is about. Drama, drama, drama. But there will be more opportunity for drama tonight as Paris Saint-Germain and FC Barcelona face off. Remember, PSG beat Barcelona by 4-1. But there has been a comeback between these two sides before, so you cannot certainly write that off. And of course, if there is to be a comeback, you can witness it all on Joy FM as Joy 99.7. There will be live commentary on that game as well, starting at 8 o'clock, so you do not want to miss that. And then there's a little matter of Liverpool versus RB Leipzig. So Jurgen Klopp's men take a 2-0 lead back at home, but this time home will not be at Anfield as they do continue to play in Belarus. Well, before we go, a happy birthday to Hamdallah Mumuni Alale, and may Allah's blessings reach you, and may you enjoy your fresh year. And this is a birthday wish from the Joy Sports team. But I think that will be wrapping it up for the sports here. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and you can get some more sports stories on my Joy Online /sports, or follow at Joy Sports GH on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. The AM show continues right after this.
Hi there, welcome to AM. Oh, hello, welcome to AM Business. It's another Wednesday, and EcoBank, the Pan-African bank, brings us our business package this morning. Yesterday, President Akufo-Addo, in the State of the Nation's address, stated government's resolve to ensure the 2.5 million housing deficit is dealt with once and for all. Even as he makes this daring promise, challenges still abound in the value chain of Ghana's housing sector. So, in this morning's edition of AM Business, the Secretary or Executive Secretary of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association responds to the recent surge in prices of building materials, particularly iron rods and cement.
I want to find out from you exactly what's happening on the field. Have the cost of building materials gone up?
Yeah. Oh, right. Good day to the viewers. Yes, prices of material has recently gone up, and it's so astronomical that people are finding it difficult to continue their project. Especially when we take the iron rods, for instance, in a span of 3 months, from November to now, it's close to 50%. And it has made a lot of people in the construction industry are set aback as to whether to continue their project or to hold on. If the prices will come down, then they continue.
Run us through from November.
Yes.
What was the cost of iron rods in November per ton?
Yes.
And as of now, what's the price?
Yes, in November, a ton was going for 3,500 cedis. And now, as we speak, it's 5,200 cedis. which is representing a price difference of close to 50%.
Yes.
That's 1,700 thereabout.
Yes.
And it's making people who use, we are more into conventional kinds of building, which use the blocks, the cement, the iron rod and all that. So it's difficult really controlling. So it has made some of the real estate people even a big problem for them to continue constructing for their client. And some that are doing that are doing it reducing their gains. That because once you've signed a contract with somebody to build, it means that if it's gone up, he or she has already committed. So it means that you, the company, would have to find ways and means to go. And the disadvantage of this is that if you don't have a credible construction company, they will start cutting corners to still have the appreciable gains to the detriment of the client.
So how are you, for example, managing?
Yes.
This is your project, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I may not be able to ask you how much you charged your clients, but within this past 3 months that you've had material prices go up, how are you going to strike that out of your profits or make it affect the construction?
Yes, as I said, if you want to be a credible construction company, you need to find a way to take the shock and doing quality work and still continue doing quality work for the client, because the client is not here. And at the end of it, it's integrity that plays a role. You can't go back to a client once you've already had an undertaking that this is how much they're building, this is how much we're selling it. So it only goes to reduce your gains, and as a construction with proper management, material management and all that, you'll be able to overcome some of this. Yes.
Is the cost of the iron rods going up? Has it even affected the quality? You were just telling me that if increasing the price wasn't enough, the quality is also affected. Drive us through how that is.
Yes, the quality by way of the iron rods.
Yes.
Yes. Well, lately we've come to realize that even the standard length that we have has been reduced. At first, you have a standard length of 9 meters or 30 feet. And now you go and sometimes you measure and you have like 28, 6 inches or a little over 8 meter, 50 and all that. And even the sizes of iron rods has also reduced. So at the end of the day, if you consider all this and you are, as a builder, you want to maximize your gains, you will be tempted to do some works that appreciable will not go down well over a long term. Yes.
You were also telling me that it's not just the iron rods.
Yes.
What else has gone up?
Well, the cost of cement, for instance, now also has gone up a bit, from 39 to like 42, 41, 50 pesos or 42. So, and when you come to the materials, in terms of fuel increment, those buying the coarse aggregate, the fine aggregate, they are all gone up. The coarse aggregate is the stones that we use for construction. Now, for instance, you could get one truckload, a 20 cubic for, let's say, 1,006, 1,007. And now it's over 2,000 cedis.
And all of this has happened within 3 months?
Yes, yes. And I'm just beginning to think that I'm hoping that it has no political connection, because just before the election, everything looks okay. After the election, then things are going up. So there's somebody who is supposed to be controlling, but
I want to still stay on the iron rods issue in relation to the standards falling.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the standards authorities' mandate to keep standards, isn't it?
Sure.
Are you satisfied with how there's a flip-flop, and is this going to affect the quality of your buildings?
Yes, I mean, there are two kinds of rods. We have the normal rod, the tensile, and the normal ones. And you realize that those doing that heavy, and the monopoly when it comes to the iron rods business. It's like if I should go to let's say the factory that I want to buy, like say 5 tons, which might be cheaper from there, but they will not sell to you because they have agents. They will tell you 5 tons go because somebody is making 100 tons, 200 tons. Why would you come for 5 tons? So, and they become like middlemen. So those are some of the things that really affect our work. It's really affecting our work because if it's not some good companies around, most people will stop work till the government does something about it. Yes, because we all are looking at building affordable housing.
Yeah.
But once we keep doing that conventional type of buildings, then affordability, I think it's something that is...
So apart from this project,
Yes.
are you doing others within this enclave?
Oh yes, we have sections. We have this one, and we have the brick houses that we use the hydroform to do. It's the hydroform kind of brick houses. So we vary kinds of construction we do here. But this is what we are on it now. Yeah.
So how is this going to affect your 2021 as a contractor in dealing with clients, and are you going to revise even your contractual agreements?
Yes, supposedly it should be so, but looking at the COVID situation, and now that we are not in normal times, it's a bit difficult for people to even buy their own homes because some people are out of job, some people have their monies locked up and all that. You know, the banking situation with some banks have closed and all that, and a lot of people have their monies locked up. So in effect, we, for instance, when we start building, we partner the client and say that, okay, you pay so much and we give you some rebate in terms of time frame to pay.
Are you going to reduce the time frame now? Because it looks like the prices are really changing.
Yeah, sure. I think we need to revisit that because it has to, because if we are still pegged at the same and the prices are going up, I mean, very soon we might be out of business. So the client should also understand that if you are doing it by yourself, it's still not going to be cheaper you doing it by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's basically what it is.
Thank you very much for coming on Brick and Mortar. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, so we'll be taking a look at exactly what's happening at the factories and, of course, the retailers that sell these building materials and why this almost 50% jump in prices. My name is Odile Ntiamwa.
You're welcome to Brick and Mortar. I'm here currently with Mr. Amegaibo, the Executive Secretary of CREDA. He's going to run us through why prices of building materials have gone up. Mr. Amegaibo, you're welcome to Brick and Mortar.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so we want to find out, has it come to the knowledge of the association that prices of building materials have gone up, especially with iron rods?
Yes, we are currently getting certain projects done. And I remember a particular one that had shortage in iron rod. And so they called me and I told them to go get some. And then the guy called me that said the price of the rods have gone up. I said by what margin? He said about 6 to 10% thereabout. But that was a small quantity, so I just told him go ahead and buy. Then 4 or 5 days later, he went again. Now we're buying much bulk, quantity for another project. Then he called me again and said the price has changed again. I said from what? He said no, now the increment is gone up. It's like 15% or that. I said just 3-4 days. Then I also ordered cement from one of the known distributors of cement. Paid for it, and they told me that supply is in short. There's shortage in supply. And I went like, how come cement? So I called another supplier. He also told me the same because I was asking for a particular brand, but the other one had other brands, but I want that particular one. In fact, I called 3 different sources and I realized that
Okay.
And so I quickly started making calls to my people, but all of them did not tell me that they have stopped production. And so they were also not too sure why my people were telling me that they didn't have cement. So I just stayed back, and unfortunately it took me about 3 days to finally receive the cement. But my people still claim that they haven't caused any shortage. Then suddenly when it was ready for us to pick up the cement, now they are telling me that, say, the money you paid, you have to come and top up, and that there's an increment in the price. And I went like, how? First of all, I have paid you already. It is you who has delayed in supply. He said, no, when the supply finally came in, they were complaining that the manufacturers have increased their price. We used to buy it around 38 cedis, and then suddenly they are telling me it is 42. So that's 4 cedis per bag, that increment. So yesterday, I saw a story by a private journalist publishing a story, and I think the story said that iron rods have gone up by about 40%. In fact, that was very shocking and alarming. My initial comment was that, was the journalist trying to say 4% and mistakenly wrote 40, okay? So I was very much alarmed. And between then and now, I've made several calls to our suppliers to find out what is happening, and they have given me some reasons.
Okay, can you run us through the reasons, at least 2 reasons why prices have gone up?
Yeah, the iron rod suppliers are telling me that the international market, the price has gone up on the international market. Because of COVID, most of the production companies have either folded up or they are on break. And so it looks like just a few companies are supplying. So that is one of the reasons.
Well, on that note, we end AM Business for this week is brought to us courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Before we bring you AM Talk, I have a wish. It's a birthday. Happy birthday to a great boss, mentor, and a friend. May the years ahead be filled with lots of love and happiness. It's your birthday today. Mr. Clemens Akapam is from Patrick Aziamati and myself to you, Clement, as you celebrate your birthday today. I hope that you go ahead and have a great day. Happy birthday to you, Clement Akapam. If you know him, reach out and wish him a happy birthday. He's a good one. Stay with us. You're still watching The AM Show.
Mr. Speaker, our nation's food resilience has been severely tested over the past year. The closure of borders in the midst of the pandemic meant that we have had to depend largely on food we produce. We have fared well under the circumstances, largely as a result of the bold policies implemented by government since 2017. Such as the Program for Planting for Food and Jobs, Rearing for Food and Jobs, the One Village, One Dam initiative, the One District, One Warehouse policy, establishment of greenhouse villages, revitalization of the cocoa rehabilitation program, and the reactivation of our aquaculture industry. I'm happy to inform the House that during this period of the pandemic, we have experienced no food shortages in this country. There have been increases in maize and rice yields by 110% and 48% respectively. We have, for the first time in a long while, become a net exporter of food, as opposed to the days of importation of tomatoes and plantain. Indeed, in 2019, we exported some 140,000 metric tons to our neighbors. We are determined to take full advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area to produce more in Ghana to sell more to Africa and beyond as we move Ghana beyond aid. The agreement for a strategic partnership between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire has bound our two countries in even closer intimacy, especially in the cocoa sector. We have succeeded in aligning the cocoa production and marketing policies of the two countries and ensured that we do not continue to be victims or pawns of a global cocoa industry that is dependent on the toil and effort of our farmers. A new trading mechanism has been implemented and has ensured that a new cost item of $400 per ton for every cocoa sold by the two nations, effective from the 2021 season, is paid to our farmers.
Well, welcome back on the AM show, and our focus on this leg of the discussion has to do with the SONA, the State of the Nation address. We encourage you to get interactive on social media with the hashtag AM show and let us know what your State of the Nation is, putting that side by side with what Mr. President said. But joining us for the discussion, Nana Otuo Echampong. He's a banking consultant. We also have Isaac Ampoba, member of the Coalition of NGOs in Health. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you. Now, let's start from your reactions to what Mr. President said yesterday. Just a summary of what was said and how you feel about the state of the nation per what Mr. President said. I'll start with you, Mr. Champong.
Well, generally, a very good message to let us know where we are. But I tend to concentrate on the financial side because that's where my area is. So to be more specific, the paragraph where he referred to the interest rate issue, and then secondly, about the mobile money interoperability that has put Ghana on top of Africa. So if I can start with the interest rate, well, the policy rate, the MPC rate since September 2019 has reduced from 16% to 14.5%. And since then, for 8 consecutive meetings, it hasn't increased. Relative to the Ghana reference rate, which is also the rate that is used by the banks themselves, which now hovers around 14.34%, meaning that the Ghana reference rate is even lower than the MPC reference rate, which is used amongst the banks. So it must be good news for the consumers of money, because interest rate is the charge for the use of money. So if we are seeing a 14.34%, then it must be good news. And that is the sort of rate that the banks would typically lend at to a blue chip company or a blue chip borrower being an individual. So on that score, that is good news. Then the second part is to do with the way Ghana has moved so fast on the mobile money side to come up with a largely cashless economy. We haven't gone the cryptocurrency digitization route, but the way we are moving towards the cashless society, it must be good news for the economy generally. So those are the first 2 points that I will make on the State of the Nation address.
Thank you for making those points, and we'll delve into other, related matters. But very briefly, what would you say were the highs and lows of yesterday's address? The highs for you, the positives, the lows, the negatives.
I think generally you find more highs than lows in the sense that the economy has been said over and over again that the president said he knows how to resuscitate a dead economy, but doesn't know how to resuscitate a dead person. And so the economy is on an upbeat in spite of the COVID presence. But COVID, with the vaccine on the scene, I must say I've taken my vaccine. We should look at the positive side, where sooner or later some of the restrictions will be lifted to ensure that we get the economy going. Now, the downside will be the proverbial Ajapa deal, which has hit a roadblock over and over again. But then the president said you want to bring it back. Now, Parliament is the final arbiter. They are going to take the decision, and I hope that they will investigate that issue properly, because the Ajapa deal goes into financial derivatives, which even for those schooled in finance is not an easy subject to understand. And so for the uninitiated, it's a very difficult subject to understand, the derivatives market. And that's what we're trying to do by trying to derive value upfront for something that we have access to in the future. So it has to be structured in such a way that the average person will understand what is going on. And if that is done, then it will be a good thing.
Before I engage Mr. Ampoma for your takeaways, let's just catch a bit of what Mr. President said yesterday in the area of health.
The pandemic, Mr. Speaker, has emphasized the need to expand access to health care for every Ghanaian, irrespective of his or her location. And I want to thank again and again all our frontline healthcare workers for their devotion to duty and sense of patriotism. The great amount of work undertaken by government has meant that we presently have some 307 functioning and well-equipped ambulances under the One Constituency, One Ambulance initiative, supported by a state-of-the-art digitized command center to field emergency calls and to dispatch ambulances. Last year, 33 major health projects were approved for implementation at a cost of 890 million euros. Key amongst them are the Koforidua Regional Hospital, Tema General Hospital, the Nephrology and Urology Center at Kolebu, redevelopment of the FIA in Kwanta Hospital into a teaching hospital, and the construction of a new regional hospital at Aguna Kwanta in the Western region. As announced last year, Agenda 111, which will see to the construction of 100-bed district hospitals in 101 districts with no hospitals, 7 regional hospitals for the new regions, including one for the Western region, the construction of 2 new psychiatric hospitals for the Middle Belt and Northern Belt, respectively, and the rehabilitation of Enfia Kwanta Hospital in the Western region is on course. Construction of some of these hospitals has commenced and will continue without interruption. Agenda 111, the largest ever investment in healthcare infrastructure in our history. It's part of a massive vision for Ghana's healthcare sector, the realization of which will lead to Ghana becoming a center of medical excellence and a destination for medical tourism.
So that is part of what Mr. President said with regard to the health sector, prominent among them, Agenda 111. But let's start, Mr. Ampoma, with your general takeaways from yesterday's SONA, with a focus on the health sector. Mr. Ampoma, if you're still with us, can you hear me? Let's confirm that first. Can you hear me? Mr. Ampoma, can you hear me? Okay, let's try that again. I can hear you, but it's very faint. So let's try it again. Mr. Ampoma, just say something. Say something. Let me know you can hear me properly.
And realizing what yesterday, I think things were said by the president, a key among the health sector and of course society. Grateful to the president. In the absence of COVID, we were all anticipating of a vaccine. And today, thank God we have a vaccine. I realized that the numbers that the president gave in his State of the Nation's address yesterday, which of course is accounting for 335 individuals that have taken the disease are recommending, it shows that vaccine hesitancy is moving away to vaccine acceptance, which is very good. And of course, other areas were mentioned in the area of Agenda 1. The 33 new health projects that have been because the president also all these projects underway. Us as civil society to begin monitoring some of these projects.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to reconnect with Mr. Ampoma as we talk health matters. Unfortunately, there. We're going to try to get him back. But let me go back to Mr. Champong, who actually is a banking consultant. And as we've initiated the conversation, a lot that was said yesterday. But we also know about the realities. Let's touch on the banking sector, for example, which is your terrain. And there was talk about the fact that Ghanaians are better off now owing to the banking sector cleanup. But we also know that on account of the same sector cleanup, we actually have people who lost their jobs, people who still remain unpaid, despite what the president has been saying in recent months, in recent years even. So a hodgepodge of national matters to look at. And there also is the bit about how much we have to expend as a country to actually undertake this cleanup. When you look at all these dynamics, would you say that it is reflective of what Mr. President said, that we are much better off on the back of it?
So, I'm inclined to agree, being at the forefront of this cleanup exercise. Now, before the cleanup started in 2017, if you take the universal banking sector, we had 36 weak banks, I would say. Now we cleaned it up and ended up with 23 strong, well-capitalized banks. Because before then, the minimum capital of the banks was 70 million. Now, only for those who were formed after 2014, they moved to 120 million. Now, as we speak, the 23 banks that survived, each has 400 million minimum capital. So we are now seeing a very strong set of strong banks, which are able to help in financing, transactions that are on big scale. And that is how economies are developed, not the Mickey Mouse type of financing which we used to have. So from that angle, yes, we have a strong set of banks, and they are ready to help the economy. Now, if, for instance, yesterday it was announced that for the Eurobond, now some local banks for the first time have been appointed as sub-managers, which didn't used to happen in the past. Would have all gone to foreign banks, but now local banks are in. So it shows a picture. Now, as to whether this is translating into people's pockets, then that is an age-old issue that is very difficult to answer, in the sense that yes, the economy is getting stronger, the banks are strong, they are ready to lend to those who have positive NPV projects and so on. But how does this translate into people's pockets? Only through creation of jobs. And although on a net basis, jobs were lost in the cleanup, but generally some also were able to be re-engaged. And so if you put the pluses against the minuses, then you will say that it's almost balanced in that angle. Now, those who unfortunately are still without their severance pay, I'm told that the receiver is working on those, and sooner than later they will get their appropriate recompense. So I think generally the banking sector is better off now than it used to be.
Okay. Now, I mean, the banking sector, you're saying that when you look at the different dimensions of it, the pluses and minuses, it would imply that indeed we are better off. But let's shift slightly to another aspect of the economic conversation, which has to do with industrialization, that drive. And there's been talk again, once more, for 64 years of our national life, we've been talking about industrializing, moving from an import-oriented economy to one that fosters indigenous production. And this, of course, ties into the 1D, 1F situation. We'll separate the 1D, 1F for now. But looking at this talk, which we've heard time without number, what would you say, per what the president told us yesterday, is different this time in the approach? And what would you say about feasibility?
Okay. It's a very good point that you have raised there. Now, yes, industrialization since Nkrumah's time, we've been talking about it. Nkrumah started. Unfortunately, it was interrupted by a series of coup d'etats, and now we are getting back. Now, the core of industrialization is the availability of funds. And therefore, in the past, when we have been talking about industrialization, getting Ghana to produce what it is and so on, where was the money coming from? Now, these monies would have come from the banks. And these were, as I said, by 2017, the 36 banks we had were all weak banks. You know, Cocoa Board annually goes to London to borrow money to buy cocoa. Now, if you, at that time, you put all the banks together, they would not have been able to provide that money that Cocoa Board needed. Now, come 2021, if you put these 23 banks together, they will be in a position to provide that money that Cocoa Board needs. So if you are talking about industrialization, whereby you will have big companies to produce what the country needs, and these companies are not properly financed, then where did you go or did you come, as you say in Ghanaian parlance? And so now that we have strong banks which have got financial muscle, they will be able to assist serious businesses which wants to, go into the productive regime. So I am hopeful that now that the funds are available, the business people, the genuine ones, I'm afraid to say, should be able to get the finance they need to be able to produce what we consume and reduce our import bill. I think the Agri Minister at his vetting said quite a lot about the progress that is being made on that front. And now the Finance Minister, when we read the budget on Friday, will probably also tell us a bit more about how this is going to be done, especially in the agri sector. And when we come into agri, you take African countries like South Africa and Zimbabwe, And there you see people seriously doing agric, not these, what do you call it, the Mickey Mouse one that we have in Ghana, where somebody has 1 acre, 2 acre, and then they said they are farmers. It has to be literally hundreds, if not thousands of acres to be able to make an impact. And so now that the funds are available, we should begin to see serious businesses coming on the scene, and the future can only be bright.
All right. You speak of the funds being available and all that, but let me just mention that we have Edward Karewa, General Secretary of the General Agriculture Workers Union. Mr. Karewa, thank you very much for joining us. Hello, Mr. Karewa, if you can hear me. I think
this is Mr. Ampoma.
Yes, I know Mr. Ampoma is on the line, but Mr. Karewa as well. Mr. Karewa, can you just unmute for us? If you can just unmute so we can hear you. Okay, so we're going to try to address that challenge with Mr. Karewa. Mr. Karewa, if you can hear me, just unmute so that we can have an interaction. But I'll come back to Mr. Ampoma on the health agenda. And there's Agenda 111, talking about 100-bed health facilities in about 101 districts. There also is the bit about 7 regional hospitals, 1 in the Western region and the others in some of the newly created, all of the newly created regions, among others. When you look at the provisions that have been made, and this is not the first time we're being told about this, how reassuring is it? What do you feel will be the impact on the health sector? Mr. Ampoma, can you hear me?
Issues. So one of them is the Agenda 111.
Yes.
But I was more important. What impressed me was the number of vaccine acceptance, which was about 262,335, and it is still counting. What it means is that majority of people are now shifting away from vaccine hesitancy to vaccine acceptance within a week. So that tells us that the campaign is ongoing. The various leadership, campaign champions, and community engagement are all ongoing. That is great. Now, back to the Agenda 111. To me, I think it's a great opportunity for us as a country to encourage the president to complete this Agenda 111 in record time. What can we do? We can only ensure that we monitor the stages as and when it is being completed, and then we give the president up-to-date information on the ground. I realize the president talking and the opposition was also engaging. The president said, open your eyes. And I think it's good. It is an eye-opener for all of us to begin to go on the field and begin monitoring the various developmental projects. I think COVID-19 in itself has also brought the nation to its needs when it comes to financial development and financial growth. But of course, the health sector is also receiving the benefit of COVID-19, where a lot of development is now channeled towards the health sector. So it is a step in the right direction. It is a good project. We all need to come on board collectively and support the president to achieve it. Yes, he also made mention about ambulances. Somebody will say, why mentioning about ambulance but not infrastructure? But all together goes to make the health system an effective one. You need an infrastructure system that has a functioning staff. You need an infrastructure system that also has an emergency response system in place. So all collectively help us in developing this country to the level that we all want. So I think overall, I'll give the president 80-90% of the delivery. What is left is that collectively, as citizens, we also need to do our work and ensure that the president is on course. Thank you.
Let's talk about the recruitment of more health professionals. And indeed, that's something that Mr. President said, that apart from the 100,000 initially recruited in the first tenure, he is going to ensure that many more are recruited. And of course, with the creation of these new health posts, we would need more health professionals. How did you receive that news?
Yes, because naturally, once you begin to develop health infrastructure, you also need human resource. to fill it. So it is not as if it is a service, but it is an automatic thing that has to be done. Once you have an Agenda 111, you should also think of filling those spaces with health personnel. Therefore, naturally, recruitment of new health personnel are indeed needed. So what we also need to do is that in such recruitment, we need to go back and look at the database and see which of the qualified health personnel are available but are not given the job, so that they are promoted or they are given the opportunity to serve. I know that there are a number of nurses that are on waiting to be posted. So most of these are nurses in waiting or health professionals in waiting needs to be promoted to pick their position. Again, also, this also brings to mind the need to intensify and increase the number of institutional services by way of the tertiary levels where we develop our medical practitioners. Or the more you have health facilities and health centers, you also begin to open up and absorb more doctors, absorb more health professionals, absorb more health workers into these areas. So it's in the step in the right direction. All what we need to do is constant monitoring, constant checks, and also providing a feedback to the presidency.
Let's check now whether we have Edward Karewe joining the conversation. Well, he apparently is not back on the line. We're going to try to get him on the line and have an interaction with regard to the agriculture sector, because a lot spoken about in that respect as well. But let me come back to Mr. Otuo Echampong as we discourse further on other matters tied to the economy. And I'll just ask you this. Did you get enough reassurance, so to speak, about the economy? And Mr. President, in talking about the economy, made some ambitious claims that we're targeting 5%, while the IMF earlier this year in January had told us about some 3.4% of GDP growth. And mind you, on the back of COVID, we've suffered some shocks to the economy. So that is some ambition being extended or being shown there by Mr. President. How did you find it? Was that reassuring enough? Because there are economic hurdles to be overcome if we are to get there. How did you receive that news?
Before I come to that, by the way, I didn't pick your name. What's the name?
Benjamin Akakpo.
Ben, okay. Yes, before I come to that, if I can veer a little bit into the health sector, if I'm allowed.
Sure, please do.
Because I'm the board chairman for the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency. Yes, it is very, very good news on the health side. First, in terms of infrastructure, that the president announced that is going to deliver on this one district, one hospital. It's a very good one. Then on the human resource side, as we speak, there are literally thousands of health workers who are without jobs, especially those who train in the private sector. And so if there's going to be a recruitment drive to bring them into the service, it is most welcome. Because as regulators, when we go around, what we find is the paucity in required staff, because by our regulation, is that every facility is supposed to have a certain minimum number of qualified staff. And with these people staying at home, it meant that there were some facilities who wanted the staff, but they couldn't have them. And so sometimes we give them a bit of room to continue looking for the appropriate staff. So on the recruitment side, it's very, very encouraging that our brothers and sisters who have qualified but still staying at home because of this restriction, which was previously imposed by the same IMF, that you shouldn't do public engagement. Now that we are off the scheme, it's good that we'll be able to engage our brothers and sisters to do what they were trained to do. So I think
very brief interjection. Since you talk about, the how practical this is, but let's talk about the cost element as well, because we know that for a long time, cost implications have also hampered our bringing some of these healthcare professionals into the system to do what they were trained to do. Are you concerned about the cost implications?
Well, I believe that where there's a will, there's a way. And for government, cost is not a barrier in the sense that if they are pushed to the wall, they will come to you and I and sell treasury bills to raise the money. And therefore, if the government has got the will that they want to engage, then they will find the money to engage people. Because at the end of the day, the health has financial implications. The good health has good financial implications as well. If the populace is not working and they are at home because they are not well and there are not people to look after them, then where is the generation of income to be able to tax and spend? So I think once the government is determined, then they will find the means, and once they get the means, it will bring a positive result back to the economy. And all these farms go into the idea of the IMF projection versus the Ghana projection. Now, at the end of the day, Ghana has access to its own books. They know what's in there and what is not there. And so if by the Ghana's own projection, they feel that the economy will grow by 5%, IMF only comes, once or twice a year to look at the books. And so those who've got access to the books, we should believe them more than those who occasionally come and look at the books.
The Bretton Woods institutions, including the IMF, they often get it right. If you look at the statistics over the years, they often get it spot on. Is that not the case?
They also get it wrong sometimes, and they've admitted themselves that they have had it wrong in some cases. And I mean, there's macroeconomists, and those who are there will be able to confirm that. But I think generally, those who've got access to their own books should be able to give a better projection than somebody without.
Okay. Yeah. Let me come now to Edward Karawe, who now finally has been able to join us, General Secretary, General Agricultural Workers Union. Mr. Karawe, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Karawe, can you please unmute for us?
Unmute.
Okay. So I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, and I will encourage you to speak up a bit because you sound rather faint.
Yeah. Are you okay?
It's better now. It's better now, Mr. Karawe. Thank you very much. So let's dig right into it. Yesterday, Mr. President making, mincing no words with the fact that now it appears we are not suffering any food shortages, that in fact we're a net exporter of food, among other matters. I would like us to delve into, well, maybe the cost of the food, the plantain and other things that we go to purchase on the market. But is this the extant situation, the status quo currently from where you sit with your union? Have we come that far in terms of agriculture? What would you say in response?
Well, let me say that the agricultural sector, as we know it, is the foundation of this economy, and it will continue to be the foundation for many years to still come. And then if we get it right, certainly all other sectors which are linked to agriculture and our future economic transformation will be achieved. That is why we need to be very, very critical about what happens in agriculture. And it is good that government took serious steps to ensure that agriculture is well organized in this country. Now, with the Planting for Food and Jobs, that is the objective, is to transform the agricultural sector. But over the period, about 4 years now, the Planting for Food and Jobs program and the agricultural programs have been inundated with a number of challenges. From fertilizer distribution, failure of fertilizer to get to the farmer, smuggling of fertilizer, wrong seed being sent to, certified seeds sent to the farmers, no marketing, and so on. So in the midst of all these challenges, it is very difficult to say that we have got sufficient food in this country to the extent that we are now exporting the food. And therefore, the country as a whole is a net exporter of food. It is not supported by the facts on the ground at all.
What are these facts that point to the contrary? What are these facts?
You know, the statistics that was given by His Excellency yesterday was that over 100%, there has been over 100% increase in maize production and nearly 50% increase in rice production. Now, when you have such a massive increase, it will certainly drive down prices. But unfortunately, if you go into the market, maize is difficult to come by, and thereby shooting up the price. The price, in fact, is more than doubled as compared to last year this time. So last year, February, March, the price of maize was 50% less than what, or more than 50% less than what the price is today. You know, and so it now becomes difficult to reconcile the statistics with the price on the ground. You know, and I was thinking that they will come further to explain to us why the price is still going up this way. And again, when we talk about being a net exporter of food, it's not also supported by anything on the ground. There's trade between the people of Ghana and the neighboring countries. If you go to the borders, either around Paga areas, Togo, Aflao, and then Elebu and the rest and so on, there's always trade between the people of the two countries. You can't claim that that type of trade is exporting. And the thing that really shocks me is about the fact that tomatoes and then plantain was used as an example. Just a few weeks ago, all of us have been witnesses to the challenges that tomato importers traveling from here to Burkina Faso to bring in tomatoes, the security challenges they got on the way. And because of that, they even had to do demonstration, went on strike, and the price of tomatoes went up further. So how do we, upon all these glaring facts on the ground, still come to say that we are a net exporter of food in the country? It just not, it doesn't support our vision. And I think that we need to give the story as it is so that we can together look for the appropriate solutions to our problems.
And so as far as you are concerned, the data put out there by Mr. President reflecting that we've become a net exporter, I should say, of food products, and that indeed there is no shortage of food is not the case. But let's talk about the Ghana Cares program, the Obatampa program, to transform, revitalize and modernize the economy. But tied to that, one of the core areas it is targeting actually has to do with bringing the youth into agriculture, bringing the youth into commercial farming. Is that not good news? Is that something to celebrate? Because we see that in other jurisdictions, indeed, it is these farmers on a commercial level who are supporting their economies. And when you look at our own economy with agriculture as its backbone, I believe this should be something positive. What is your take on that, Mr. Karere?
Well, you know, whenever we talk about creating jobs and then targeting the youth in particular, because, I mean, it's something that we must always celebrate and then be eager to have such programs roll out. Because the youth is the future, and agriculture itself is a very difficult area. And then, as we have now, our demographic data shows that the majority of people who are now in agriculture are the agents. So we need to encourage the youth to go in. So any program that is targeting the youth who are largely unemployed to go into agriculture is very, very welcome. The only thing is that we don't try to use solutions, homegrown solutions, to solve the problems that inhibit the youth from joining agriculture. You know, The youth are very, very level-headed people. They are very rational, and they will go to where they think their energies are best used for them. So, are we encouraging the youth by making the agricultural sector attractive? Now, as we see today, the pricing of agricultural produce is unpredictable. Look, many have gone into the agriculture, and by the close of the day, that is at the time of harvest, they don't know where they are supposed to send their produce to. The few state institutions, like the buffer stock, which is supposed to mop up produce at the end of harvest, when it gets to that point, becomes paralyzed, becomes dormant, becomes unable to support. Either they have not got sufficient funds to do that, or for whatever reasons. And we've seen it. And no rational youth will sit and watch, like what we saw in 2019, where people have gone into commercial farming, and then at the close of the day, their rice has to be beaten by rains and spoiled just because they could not export it. I mean, they could not transport it to the marketing center. All these things are not encouraging to the youth. So, yes, the program is good, but we must ensure that implementation is right. We thought that the Planning for Good and Just program would have learned from our previous mistakes and challenges in implementing policies. But unfortunately, we have not learned so much. So if this program is coming on and they want to deepen it, then of course, they should let us learn from our past experiences and make sure that we don't repeat the same challenges that will make the youth to move out of the agriculture.
Okay. As we wrap up on this conversation, we can't possibly digest all of what Mr. President said in even these few areas we've targeted. But one thing that came up that has got a lot of people talking has to do with the Ejapa deal, the monetization of our mineral royalties. And 22 CSOs debunked the matter. Martin Amidu, former special prosecutor, shared his thoughts on this. I would have each of you do just a few, maybe less than a minute, on what your thinking is now that it's on the drawing board again. I'll start with you, Mr. Otue Champong. The Ejapa royalties deal back to be addressed by Parliament. Your quick take on that?
Well, I've already said a bit on it, but let me repeat myself. I said the Ejapa deal is an exercise in derivatives, and derivatives are not something easy to be understood by the uninitiated in finance. And so if it's coming back, my plea will be for them to ensure that they're able to bring it down to the level of the average Ghanaian, of course, not every Ghanaian, but the average person, to understand what the whole thing is about. Because derivatives have brought, many a bank down and so on. So it is something that has got to be looked at very carefully, digested, and break it down to the level that people understand. Okay. Because generally it is to be a good deal if it's done properly.
Okay, so for you, basically a matter of understanding. Let me come to Mr. Ampoma, even as we wrap up. From the lay perspective, how did you feel yesterday hearing that the Ejapa deal would be back on the drawing board? Do we still have Mr. Ampoma with us?
We call it extensive consultation with all the concerned parties, especially civil society, and even certain from the opposition, so that the views are clearly spelled out, and then we get an Ejapa deal that is for all Ghanaians, and it becomes the Ejapa for us all in future. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you too. Mr. Carrera, I'll wrap up with you on the Ejapa deal. Now that it's coming back to the August House of Parliament, what is your take?
Not being in a rush to bring back the Ejapa deal, because the Ejapa deal is tainted with mistrust and then suspicion and so on. And what it has left in the minds of Ghanaians, the time period is still too short to do the damage repair of what the Ejapa deal means. We shouldn't rush to bring back the Ejapa deal, as the other speakers have said, even if it has to come back, then we need to take time to demystify, first and foremost, the Japan deal, and also to assure Ghanaians that what we heard about the Japan deal and what it will do to this country, our sovereignty, integrity, and then mortgaging our resources to places that we cannot have a say, it cannot be done overnight. It cannot be done one day. So government needs to, first and foremost, assure all of us that they have cured that damage that has been there in the minds of Ghanaians before we can now think about bringing back the Japan deal.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time with us. The last person you heard there, Edward Karawe, General Secretary, General Agriculture Workers Union. We also had Nana Otue Champom, a banking consultant, and Isaac Ampoma, member of the Coalition of NGOs in Health. Well, many Ghanaians would normally wear the locally made smock, the fugu or batakari, with a hat made to match. But did you know that the way you choose to wear that hat communicates a certain message in traditional circles? You could actually get into trouble with the chiefs or a spiritually fortified person in a community, depending on the way you choose to fold the topmost part of the hat that usually accompanies the fugu. For our Ghana Month series, JoyNews Upper East Regional Correspondent Albert Sori visits the fugu market in Bolgatanga to get a better explanation of the various meanings portrayed by the different styles of wearing the fugu hat.
Now, we have all visited one of these smokes markets anywhere in the country to purchase for ourselves one of these beautiful Ghanaian traditional outfits, the batakari or fugu, or simply the smoke, depending on how you prefer to call it. Many of us, when we buy a smoke, would most likely buy one of these hats to accompany the smoke that we buy. But what you probably did not know is that how you wear this hat communicates a certain meaning traditionally. You probably also do not know that if you wear this hat the wrong way in the presence of certain people in our traditional settings, you could get yourself into trouble. You might even end up paying a fine. I'm here at the Bolgatanga Smokes Market to talk to Isaka Munkaila, who has been selling smokes for over 2 decades now, to tell us the different meanings that come with the wearing of the hat that accompanies the smoke.
Basically, the hat, it has a meaning of wearing it. To the best of our knowledge, the chiefs only have one way of wearing it, except they want to wear it a different style. But the style that the chiefs are wearing, what they do is that this is how the chiefs will wear. So if they wear it and they will pull it back. So if they pull it back like this, it means that they have a lot of followers and they are head of communities. The other thing is that when you go where there is a lot of chiefs, or to go to chief palace and you wear it the way the chiefs are wearing, you are telling them that you are also one of them. So if you are not one of them, there is a lot of implication. Normally they have things that they will charge you to pay: goats, ram, sheep and cows, depending on how the chief will take the issue. So therefore, if you are not a chief and you are a layman, you don't have to wear it the way the chiefs are wearing. The layman, like some of us like this, we can leave it this way. If you leave it this way, you are only acknowledging the presence of God. At everywhere you go, that one, it has no any implication. If you don't want it this way, you can pull it this way too. That's the right hand side. So the right hand side, the literal meaning too is that you belong to everybody, whether old, young, you are friends with anybody, so you don't have problem. So if you don't want it the right hand side and you pull it the left hand side, basically it's still the same meaning. This way, it's still the same meaning. the other style is that when you pull it in front like this, it shows that spiritually you are spiritually strong. So if you are spiritually strong, this is how you wear it. So if you are spiritually weak and you don't have a lot of juju, you don't venture to wear it this way. Because if you wear it this way, and anybody who is spiritually strong may see you and think that you are also strong, and he wants to try his juju on you to see how you are also strong. So therefore, you don't wear it this way.
So after what I have learned from Munkaila today, I have decided that I will always wear the hat for my smoke this way. At least I'll be telling people that I am everybody's friend and I don't have a problem with anybody. What I certainly do not want to do is to wear it this way and maybe invite a spiritual attack for myself. Whichever way you see it, we are in the Ghana month, and traditional beliefs, traditional connotations, or whatever you want to call it, are all part of the Ghanaian culture. So the next time you buy one of these, just be careful how you wear it and where you wear it the way you wear it. From the Bolgatanga Smokes Market, my name is Albert Sorry, reporting for Joy News.
Well, Albert Sorry there, helping us all understand how to wear the fugu and the kind of message that it sends depending on how you wear it. I hope that we've learned something new this morning as we still observe Ghana Month in this month of March. Now, let's talk about something new. Infonox has introduced IX Social app as a game changer, and we want to learn a lot more about it. So joining us via Zoom for a conversation is Danny Mawas. He's Regional Director of Infonox. I want to say good morning to Danny. There you are. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Hi.
So you are a lot more than just what I have said. So first of all, why don't you tell us about Infonox?
Sure. So Infonox Capital is a global multi-regulated online brokerage, which has been founded in 2009 in London, in the UK. So we have been actually in the industry for quite some time now, so more than 12 years. And we've been having a local presence in more than 15 countries. Close to 20, actually. So we are global, but with local operations, hiring local talents, because actually it's really critical for us to understand the local culture, the people, the business. So what we do is that we give people access to global financial markets, such as stocks, so like your stock trading, Forex, your currencies, commodities, indices, cryptos, and so on and so forth via stable trading platforms such as our latest app, the IX Social app, available on your App Store and Play Store. So just regarding Africa alone, to give you an idea, we already have 5 offices. So our African headquarters are based here in South Africa, Johannesburg. But then we're going to have 3 offices in Nigeria, 1 in Cairo. And we are actually currently busy at expanding our network of satellite offices into some other African countries, actually in Ghana, but also Tanzania, Namibia, and Zambia.
Okay. Now, Danny, you've introduced an app. It's called the IX Social. Why don't you tell us about it and how can we benefit from it?
Sure. So IX Social is basically the latest app offered by Infonox. So this app allows traders to interact with each other. So the app is all about what we call social trading. This app is totally free, simple, easy to use, and obviously mobile friendly. So the app allows traders to copy the best strategy providers from around the world, follow the best signal providers, interact with them, and learn from them. So we are basically talking about a free app allowing traders to interact and copy real professional traders. because there's literally no other app like this. Actually, most of these apps available out there are actually not free. And they are made of what we call automatic trading strategies. So actually, there is no real people behind. It's just like some codes running in the background, giving you some trading signal to buy or sell something. IX Social is all about real people, real professional traders, and therefore real performances. And I will actually encourage you, obviously, to search for IX Social on your Play Store or App Store. Download it, follow the step. It's very easy and user-friendly.
So what's your advice, I guess, for some Ghanaians who are not necessarily used to trading online? What are the benefits? What are the easy steps or the tips that you can give us?
Well, it's a very good question, actually. So I would give you three main advices. First advice, regulation and licensing are keys, meaning that if you are looking to trade the financial markets, you should look at trading with a recognized and regulated brokerage, and especially regulated by well-established authorities such as your FFCA in South Africa or the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK. Second, I would say you want to trade with a broker which is locally present, which has this local expertise, like I was explaining, for instance. Infinox Capital already has 5 offices, and we are looking at expanding quite fast into some other African countries. And at last, you want to look at what are the different services that your broker can offer you. So meaning, to me, in order to get successful on the financial markets, you definitely want a broker which can provide premium services, such as proactive team. So meaning that when you want to, to call your broker, the broker can pick up the phone within like less than 10 seconds. And also, I mean, you want to trade what sort of tradable product the broker can offer you. So you do want like a wide range of tradable product. And I personally strongly recommend you Infinox, because Infinox is one of these few brokerage in Africa which basically ticks all of the boxes.
Okay. Just, Danny, help us again understand what can we trade on this platform?
Sure. So you can basically trade your stock. So you can do some stock trading. You can trade currencies, so Forex. You can trade stock indices, commodities, so like your gold, silver, and so on and so forth, as well as cryptocurrencies for the ones who definitely like Bitcoins, for instance.
Okay. And if somebody wants to have a conversation with your company and learn a lot more, maybe ask questions that I have not necessarily asked you this morning, is that possible?
Definitely. You can definitely send us an email right now at infozere@infinox.com.
Okay.
Or you can definitely check our website at infinox.com, and you will have all of the details that you need.
Okay. All right. So if you're ready to do some trading, just download the app IX Social now. Is that it, Danny?
That's it, and it's free, and it's basically available on your App Store and Play Store.
Okay. Well, Danny, thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you for helping us understand what Infinix does, and also sharing this app, IX Social, with us. Danny Mawas is Regional Director of Infinix. I tell you what, just get on your phones right now or your laptops if you can, and learn a lot more about this. This is the way that we're going, really. Nobody's physically necessarily doing a lot of stuff these days. So you better just go and download this app, Infinix, INFINOX, and learn a lot more about it. You're still watching the AM show. We've got show business news coming your way right after this. Stay with us.
Okay, so that was on that one. You're welcome to the showbiz segment right here on the AM show. My name is Kadi Asamoah. Now let's talk about what has been trending, the story that has been trending since Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah was aired on Sunday. The palace has released a statement in connection with all this. So this was the statement from Royal Communications on Tuesday, the 9th of March, 2021. Now the following statement is issued by Buckingham Palace on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen. The whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years has been for Harry and Meghan. Now, the issue raised, particularly of that race, are concerning. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved family members. And so, yeah, that was a statement from Buckingham Palace, and it's very short. It's very brief.
You know, but
I know.
I really don't know how much of this will actually be brought to bear in practical terms, but at least some acknowledgement there by the royal family that there are undercurrents they have to be addressing. I mean, that's the bottom line for me.
Yeah, let's just hope that as good as this statement looks, everything, you know, goes on well and then they reconcile. I mean, they don't have security, they've cut them off financially. I mean, they're still our royals.
But you know something else that this tells me? It also tells me about standing by your principles. There's this saying that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
So I think if you really stand for something and you think this is it, you go for it. And I think it's a very bold move. I've not heard of any members of the royal family doing this.
Yeah.
In like
it's
forever.
a bold move. But I want to ask you, if you go to that extent for your
Someone
wife?
I love?
Yes.
I would.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, I would.
Okay. On that note, that's all we have for the morning show right here on the AM show.
And indeed, that's how we wrap this morning on the AM show. Thank you very much for your company. We return tomorrow. It's a special day. Look out for something special we have for you come tomorrow. Do enjoy your day.